But another recent moment that you had, really cool to see, was that you reunited with the Undertaker. You were on six.
Haha. Yeah, man. It was really, really cool to sit down. I sat down on his podcast literally about 2 months ago, and I've been like waiting for it to come out, and I was like, I guess Donald Trump takes precedent in that. I'll allow it, you know. But yeah, it was. I talked about it on there. I haven't seen him for like since WrestleMania 30, and it was crazy to think about. Like, man, I mean, I saw him every day for years, and we haven't seen each other now for over 10 years. And so it was so nice to catch up, even for that short amount of time. It's literally like we work together still to this day every day. It's awesome.
Was it weird kind of seeing him in such a laid back setting, having been there, and him being like that locker room leader presence while you were there?
Man, I'll tell you this, and we joked about it on the Patreon part of it. Like the Undertaker used to be the dead man. He used to be the guy from Death Valley making caskets, and now he's reading, pardon my French, dick pill ads. Like, uh, we were laughing about that, and it's just funny because but he's happy. He's very, very happy, and he's very like I don't know, he's relaxed. And I, at WrestleCade this last weekend, a lot of people were coming up and complimenting the interview and that. And I said, you know what, the one thing I wanted to do with that interview was something no one does with him. Everyone's very, very uh, not reserved, but like intimidated. They're very intimidated by him. I still am to this day. But also, I wanted to. This is going to be my one time to sit down with him. I'm going to turn it around on him and actually ask him things. Something he never gets. He never ever gets. And he actually brought up in the interview, like, no one ever asks me things. This is different. This is weird. And I wanted to make sure to do that because I have questions. I wanted to ask him even more than we even did. And it was like, I wanted to ask him about the casket matches. I wanted to ask him about Chuck Norris and about random things. I always think like he brought up the son of redacted, as we say these days, I guess. Uh, I can say it. Vince McMahon, the Vince McMahon storyline was the biggest thing to ever happen in my career. Legitimately the biggest thing ever. I still hold it very, very true to my heart and very close to my heart. It was the greatest thing that ever happened in my career at that time. Um, but I always say, like, I wish I would have asked him things like, hey, man, what really happened with Nails? Give me the scoop on that.
Yeah.
Like, and what was going through your mind when you did the entrance at WrestleMania 12 before Shawn did? Like that random things that no one ever has asked him. That's what I want to know. I don't want to know, hey, how was it beating WCW? I don't care. We've heard it in 90 interviews. Undertaker, we've heard about the streak 90 million times, and we've heard about the Hell in a Cell 1,000 times. I want to hear about, hey, how many masks did you go through? That's what I want to know.
It's those, that's like the wrestling fan, other than you being in the business so long, that is the fan
Yeah.
for the business I feel that I love so much, those creative questions. Yeah.
It's the minute you take yourself away from this and realize before wrestling, I was Dylan from Oshkosh who worked at Target. When this is done, I always make a thing like a self thing. I always want to mention Oshkosh, my home for my whole life. I always want to mention it in every interview, and I always get to. Here's that moment. I still now, after wrestling, will go back to being Dylan from Oshkosh. So now I can go back and go, what was Dylan from Oshkosh thinking? What would he ask The Undertaker? He wouldn't ask The Undertaker about the streak or about, the Paul Bear relationship with Paul Bear. He would ask odd things like, how many different versions of the Inferno match were there? Like that, like stuff like that, that no one else has ever thought of to think. I want to ask because that's what I think about.
Yeah. I love it. I really do. There's something unique actually that came out of that interview that circulated afterwards. I'm not sure whose account I saw it on, but a picture of you, Undertaker, Omos. Um,
And an actor from Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, yeah.
can you take us behind that picture?
Yeah, so it was like the three of us were doing a Taker's podcast that day, and we're like, why don't we get a group shot? I was like, sure, great. And then that posted again. That was like the next day they posted it. Like, wait till you see what we got coming. And I was like, oh great, I'm gonna be on in like 3 weeks. No, it was like a month and a half. But I'm so glad it came out. I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's really, really cool.
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.